What's up, everybody? Who's ready to get a little bit better? Comment yes if you want to. Wow! Okay, so year end. I don't typically timestamp these little videos I'm bringing to you, but it's the end of the year. Weeks left in 2022. And some of you have already started to go into a melancholy place because you've started to go into that reflective mode. And maybe, like me, maybe you went back and read your journal from a year ago. And I did this a couple days ago. Went back and read my journal, and I was like, I didn't hit that goal, and I didn't hit that goal. And it is really easy to get in a place of discouragement, because if you ask the question, what if I didn't accomplish all my goals? What do you do with that? And so I'm going to bring you a very familiar framework. I've taught this many times. Full credit to Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy for writing the phenomenal book, Gap and the Gain. If you have not read it, do yourself a favor and read it. Here's a little bit of my version, their content. Here's the framework. We live our lives and we look at what we have achieved. But because you, my friend, are a high achiever, way to be awesome, way to get stuff done, way to be the go-to person. You look at what you have achieved, but then you look at the ideal of what you wanted to achieve. And because what you have achieved never hits the ideal, what you end up doing is you end up living right here in the big old gap. Wow, that was a really funky P. The gap. You look what you achieved. You haven't hit the ideal. By the way, is this a static thing? Or is that quite possibly a moving target? Because when you hit something, then there's always something. What's the word, people? More. There's always more. There's always bigger. There's always better. There's always the next thing. And so when you are going after this and you're living in the gap, you need to hit that ideal. And so this is what happened. This is what happened to me the other day when I journaled, and I was like, well, I didn't hit that, and I didn't hit that, and I'm still talking about that thing. And what happened to me? I looked at what I had achieved, and I didn't hit the ideal of what I wanted, and I ended up squarely, solidly in the gap. And I was ungrateful, and I was frustrated, and I was disappointed. Does anybody want to live? No, we don't want to live there. So what is the solution to getting out of the gap? The solution is to look at what you've achieved and to go backwards to where you, as soon as I can write, where you started. And when you go backwards to where you started and you look at where you started and you looked at what you've achieved, guess what happens there? You end up living solidly in the gains. And you this red light, green light, you like the way I did that, didn't you? Get in the gains, people. In the gains is joy and gratitude and satisfaction and fulfillment. And not only do you get all that in the gains because you look at where you started and you looked at what you achieved. Now listen, you're a high achiever. I love you. I see you. I am you, okay? But if all you're ever doing is going after that ideal and you're not taking the time to look backwards at where you started and celebrating, here's a big word for you, instead of going after more and needing it, progress. Progress equals happiness. And so when you go back here, where's the mark I want to use? Instead of measuring forward and needing it, you're going to measure backwards. Always measure backwards. AMB is what Dan Sullivan talks about in the book. And then instead of needing to hit the ideal, this beautiful word, I don't need it anymore, but I want to achieve more. I want to have a greater influence. I want to create more revenue. I don't need the revenue to validate who I am, to prove my worth, to prove to anybody else that I'm good or smart or successful. No, I don't need any of that. But because I'm living in the gains and my heart is full of joy and gratitude and fulfillment, and I've like the biggest gain of all is knowing who I am and that I'm loved just the way that I am. And I've made massive progress. And listen, I started with the question, what if you didn't achieve all your goals? Guess what? 99% of the people that set big goals, that stretched them, that made a difference in the world, that pushed them, 99% of the people didn't hit all of their goals. But do you know what us high achievers are really good at doing? Because if we don't do this, we begin to die on the inside. You made progress, baby. Yes, you did. You made progress. And so instead of saying, well, I didn't hit the ideal, finding the pieces of progress that you can celebrate. And so I did this to myself the other day in my journal, and I was like, well, I didn't do this, and I didn't do that, and I suck, and I didn't make any. And then literally, I went back and I looked at the significant, the big rocks that moved forward in my life over this last year. Just whether it was personal or business, and professionally, there were some significant things that happened in my life in 2022. I made a pretty significant shift in my career and vocation because I've been a pastor for 25 years, and now I'm no longer employed as a pastor out of church. I serve at my church. I love my church. I love my pastor. It's an amazing, amazing church. But now I'm a full-time entrepreneur. That wasn't a 30-day transition, y'all. That was months and months and months to do it well and to bring honor and to be able to serve well and to continue to serve in my church as I am to this day. That took a lot. And there was other things. We hosted 2 events this year, change people's lives in deep and lasting ways. 2 different events we created out of nothing, and we created events. We launched the Transformation Community. If you're not in it yet, you totally should be. You should join by the end of the year. But the Transformation Community, we have community calls every week. We've got 100 hours of content, of valuable content that we've built up over the last year. And we've got a thriving community that meets on a couple calls a week. And then we've got masterminds. We've shifted the entire structure of what we're doing. And then the last thing, many of you have done this, but we've implemented EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System. If you have not read the book Traction yet, you should totally do that. And so I'm literally over here beating myself up oh, you suck. And then I'm man, hold on. When I look at where we started and what we've achieved in 2022, wow, come on already. Massive progress. And when you lay a strong foundation and you make progress, guys, listen, you're awesome. You're it's not in you to be stagnant and complacent and mediocre. You wouldn't have been on this video for 7 minutes, whatever it's been, if you were not making progress. So I want you this week, this video is dropping right now at the end of the year, okay? I want you to go back and I want you to find the gains. If you journal, oh, what a gift. Journaling, such a gift, such an amazing habit. Go back and read through your journals. Maybe you don't have a journal. Here's another way that I can do this. I'll go back because I'm really good at taking a lot of pictures, even when my kids roll their eyes at me. And so I take a lot of pictures of the family and the experiences, the memories we make. And so I'll go back through my phone and just scroll through my phone to see, man, where have we gone and what have we done and what are the places that we visited? Another thing you can do is just go back through your calendar, month by month, week by week, and be I totally forgot about that. We did that retreat. We did that impact. We did that, whatever it was. But those are just 3 simple ways to go back and find the gains. 4th way for you, have conversations with your family, with your close friends, with your team, and go back and find the gains and celebrate them. And then just soak in them. Just soak in them. So the question I started with was, what if you didn't accomplish all your goals? Well, before you go setting goals again for 2023, go back to where you started at the beginning of 2022 and squeeze all the goodness and the power and the joy and the energy out of looking at the gains that you've created and celebrating that progress. And from that place, don't set goals that are an ideal that you're never going to hit and don't need to prove something in 2023. Listen, you're not going to get squat done. If you're doing stuff to prove, to validate, to find your worth, and that's not Achievement is not where you find that. But when you go back and you get in gratitude and you get in the games, like, what do you want to do in 2023? How do you want to impact people's lives? How do you want to make a difference? What are the memories you want to create with your family? And don't do it because you have to or because you need to. Do it because you want to. And create goals for the coming year from that place. And again, that idea of the big rocks, like I didn't go back to look at the details, the minutia. I said, hey, what are the big rocks that I move forward? So maybe it's a good place. Like, what are the big rocks I want to move forward in 2023? And celebrate, squeeze all the goodness out of 2022, and then get in that beautiful place of gratitude and joy and fulfillment when you start to dream and vision about what you really want for the coming year. Hey, I believe in you. You are amazing. You have made massive progress in 2022. Listen, if nobody else is telling you, I'm proud of you. Like seriously, I know we might not know each other, but listen, it takes hard work. It takes commitment, intentionality, dedication to make the kind of progress that you did. And listen, you might not have big external factors that are demonstrating your progress. Some of you, the progress has been on the inside of you. Some of you, it's been hanging on through hard, difficult circumstances, through loss. I don't know, but listen, I know you're not who you were. And I know you're making progress. So celebrate the games, live from the games, and you'll do more in the coming year than you ever dreamt possible. Hey, get off this call right now and begin to get into that place of celebrating the games. This is where you should get off of here and go out there. It's not a call, I know, it's a video habit. I do thousands of mastermind calls. It's a habit because this is how I end every mastermind call. This is where you get off this call and you go out there and you give your greatness to the world because somebody needs what's on the inside of you. Do not hold it back. Go out there and give it away. I love you guys. Have a great week.